have a dynamic speaker here on the show today. This man's knowledge is extensive. And when I tell you he knows the ins and outs about multifamily real estate investing, he knows the ins and outs. You are not going to want to miss 1 second of this dynamic powerhouse speaker coming to the Gentleman Style Podcast stage here today. So like always, here we go. Good morning, Gentleman Style Podcast fans and family. Today, we have a powerful house speaker today, Mr. Dave Childers. He's the managing member of a residential investment advisors and Cedar Rock Capital based company in Nashville, Tennessee. Mr. Childers has over 17 years of real estate investing experience in Middle Tennessee. His company, Cedar Rock Capital, has over 300 multifamily units located throughout Middle Tennessee and Pensacola, Florida. He is actively involved in the daily operations, asset management, and all aspects of the operation in these assets. Mr. David has a powerhouse story, and he's going to share it here today on the Gentleman Style Podcast show. Mr. David has also brokered over 600 multifamily property deals in all over the country, in Southern Kentucky and Northern Alabama. He has advised hundreds of clients throughout the years to purchase small 2 units or even large 1,100 unit properties. Please help me welcome to the stage the incredible Mr. Dave Childers.
Thank you so much for having me. And some of those words you're using to describe me, powerhouse, dynamic, I don't know about all that. But multifamily expert, I would consider myself that. And so thank you again, Marcus, for having me on this morning and arranging this and doing this incredible podcast and letting me share my story with your listeners.
Absolutely. Have to. And humble, y'all. I forgot humble. He's very humble. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for correcting me. Thank you for standing out. And thank you for being here and taking time out of your day to make time for us. This is huge and necessary. But before we dive into the juicy part, I'll always like to ask the question, what is a successful habit? People who are successful have successful habits and routines that they do day in and day out. What is something that you would lay testament to that has led to your success in business, personally, in real estate? What is one thing that you do in the morning that really sets the tone for your day?
You know, I guess I broke some of the mold because that's just, I wish I had this, like I get up at 5 a.m. and I work out and I do, meditation and study the Bible and I just don't. Like, I guess I've started to try to get up my workouts in the morning. I've started to try to get in the habit of making the bed. But I think just the longevity of just getting up with that attitude of like, I'm going to go kill something and drag it home today and make things happen. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life pretty much and never really worked for a big company, never had anybody telling me I had to be here at a certain time besides clients and investors and people like that. But I think you just have to have that like you get out of bed and you got to go to work. I think a lot of young entrepreneurs kind of they see what the end looks like, but they don't understand the journey you travel to get there, and that every day it's just a grind, and you got to go make yourself grind every day. And now being 17 years in and pretty comfortable, I have to find kind of that next gear to make myself want to go out there and grind and have that drive and continue that drive. So I wish I could say it, I have this great routine or I have this set of goals or whatever, but man, just, for me, it was out of desperation and I had to go out there and make a living to provide for my family. And that made me go, dig every day, so.
That's the core. That's the core, right? At above all else. And it sounds like your motivation, your biggest motivation is family, right? You're gonna put food on the table. Like you said, you're gonna go out, kill it, and drag it home, and you're gonna make it happen no matter what. So that's what I heard, y'all. That's the takeaway from me. That's what I'm learning here today. Yeah.
And one of my goals, was to have my wife home with our children when they were young. And so, not having her work and me being the sole provider was a big motivation. And then B, like, I didn't have a backup plan. I'm a college dropout. I tell people, I'm honest, I'm not that smart. You did great, like, building me up before this podcast. But, I was a horrible student. So I didn't have a plan B. This was the way I was going to make money, or I was going to go out there and do what I had to make a living, and grind. I didn't have like, I'll just go work for corporate America if it doesn't work out. I was all in. And I think that those two things were very, very large driving motivations for my success.
That makes sense. And thank you for being, and thank you for that, right? Some people think it all happens overnight, right? Some people think it just happens by chance or happenstance. Like, he must have been lucky. Mr. Dave was just lucky. And that's why he's where he is today. And it's not. It's a grind. It's a hustle.
And it's a grind. I grew up in a lower middle class family, never understood money. I think that was the biggest thing is growing up in a lower middle class family. I think I was taught the wrong way about wealthy people and money. They're evil and they did something to kind of screw people over to make their living. And during college, I had some great mentors that just I had to almost wash my brain of all that negative thought and going, no, I serve people. With residential investment advisors, we do servant leadership. We do servant, we serve our clients by helping them find good investment properties, right? And so, if you keep that attitude of you're wanting to serve people, the success comes from that, right? That's my grind was serving my clients, and taking good care of them and honesty and integrity. And so I had to like I said, I had to redo my brain. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was a great book that I read. I was a finance major in college, and none of that stuff is taught, right? They teach you about the X's and O's, but, Rich Dad, Poor Dad was kind of part of that rewashing and retraining my brain on money and how wealthy people become wealthy and successful. And so I think those are some of the things, that, again, I didn't grow up with it. I walked around some of my properties and, I get accused of, you have a silver spoon, your daddy. No, I didn't have any of that. And it's okay that, my parents taught me a work ethic. I still try to keep that blue collar work ethic. I'm gonna I get my hands dirty. We go in, units and do things that we need to do. So I've tried to keep that blue collar work ethic with, learning to leverage people and time and, all the other things that you start learning about business. But, and back to that, I tell people I wasn't that smart, but I will outwork you. And that's kind of always been my montage is like, I can outwork you. I can figure it out. It's not rocket science, or I'll find the person who does know about it and partner up with them or leverage their knowledge and my work ethic and come together.
Humble beginnings, right? Didn't come from money, but the hustle, right? The school of hard knocks, the hustle is there. You guys, this is powerhouse. This is impactful. I told you again, he's going to tell you he's humble, but this is what we need, right? Many Americans, many of us were suffering, right, in the pandemic, but to be able to push through and not give up, and that determination is key. We have one quick commercial break. You guys stay tuned, stay with us. We won't take him too long away from you guys. Mr. Dave Chillers, y'all, will be right back. Good day, podcast listeners. This is your boy, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I wanted to let you guys know that we will be rolling out a new feature and adding a join sponsor button next to the subscriber button here at the bottom of your screen. Once you click the button, it will display 3 membership levels. Gentleman Gentry, which is our entry level, Duke Duchess, which is our season level, and the Emperor and Empress, which is our most sophisticated level, which you will receive unique perks and benefits at each differing level. and gain access to our community tab. We will also be sharing polls, upcoming events, and interviews, as well as receive feedback from our sponsors directly. Your support helps me find new and exciting guests to bring to the stage live. Well, in order to get the higher end speakers, it requires, well, some, you guessed it, money. So thank you for tuning in to my channel. And if becoming a sponsor sounds good to you, then select the join button below and choose your desired sponsor level. Let's continue to grow and serve the future of generations of men and women to come. Love you guys. Bye. We are back, y'all. We have Mr. Dave Chillers, and his company is leading the way and leading the charge on how we do business. He just broke down some of the things and the habits that he's developed and the hustle and the grind that sought him through all of life's tribulations. He didn't come from money. He didn't come from wealth, but he worked and he outworked his competition and he outworked those that didn't even believe. So this is unique, and we need to hear that. That's what some of us need, that gut check, and some of us need to hear that. Talking about your company, you started this company, Residential Investment Advisors and Cedar Rock Capital. Tell us, what is it specifically, what your company does, and what is at the core, and why did you start this unique multifamily company?
Yeah, so let's just stick with Residential Investment Advisors. I started back in, I think it was 2009, 2010. A buddy said, man, you've got a lot of knowledge when it comes to small multifamily. And, I sell large multifamily assets, and then there's residential agents. I'm using my hands, big and large. And there's kind of a no man's land, right? There's not somebody that's knowledgeable who knows the terminology and just the business that's in this 2 to 50 unit range. And I had, at that time, I had a couple hundred units that I had, bought before the crash. And I was kind of at this weird spot in my life. I was like, well, I might have to go get a part-time job or a real job because, my assets were kind of, growing, but they weren't really spitting off cash flow that I could live off. And so I said, well, I got a real estate license. I know about multifamily. Let's start this Residential Investment Advisors and see what happens. And this is like in the bottom of the crash. And so I just started seeing all these deals here in Nashville. There were hundreds of foreclosed multifamily properties that were toxic to banks and some people, but there was a few clients I found that just, they wanted to buy everything because, back then, the cash on cash return with some of these smaller assets was like 30-35% on cash. And so, we weren't expecting values to go up. We just said, man, if you could buy this asset and make 30-35% on your cash, that's a great deal, right? And it was funny how many people would look at it and go, no, I think it's going to go lower. And I'm like, you're making 30% on your cash, like just buy it, right? But I found a couple good clients and really, took the company, started it that year, and it just took off. So, we're 10 years later, I've sold almost 600 small multifamily properties. Now the assets have gotten from selling $60,000, $80,000 duplexes up to $3-4 million apartment buildings. I've grown it. I've got a team of 3 agents and an office manager, and some interns that work for us. And so, we're kind of growing the brand now. I'm kind of on the, just helping those guys. Kind of back to we were talking about motivation. My motivation now is to see my staff, my agents successful, right? That's kind of become my new drive, right? Is to help them succeed. They're young guys, they're hungry, they're hustlers. And as long as they'll keep that attitude, I'm going to continue to pour into them and see them succeed. But yeah, that's what we do. So we've just kind of found this little niche market, 2 to 50 units all over Middle Tennessee. I don't know what my next step for the company is to take it, into other markets and try this. But again, we've just kind of carved out this, really niche market where, I tell people, residential agents kind of need to stay out of the multifamily space unless they want to get educated on terminology and returns and the business. And then big multifamily brokers, a lot of them just don't want to screw around with these smaller properties. And we've made a good living in a good company. And we've learned there's differences. Like if you're going to buy a 100-unit complex, a broker is very knowledgeable about who the buyer is. And I'm very knowledgeable about who the buyer is for a 10-unit, here in Middle Tennessee. I know how it needs to be presented, and I know the financing, and all the ins and outs of it. So again, we've carved out a nice little niche, and it's been great for us, and it's been fun, right? Nobody gave me a playbook. You're talking about hustle, right? You try things, they fail. You try another avenue, or they work for a short amount of period. Like back to, there were hundreds of foreclosure multifamily properties. Well, that was your business model. Is I'm only going to sell foreclosure multifamily properties. I would have been out of business for 2 or 3 years, or 2 years into it, right? Because all that dried up. So you kind of got to keep reinventing yourself, and nobody's going to sit here and give you a playbook and, play by play here, do this, and this. You just got to go do it, try it, measure the results and keep moving forward and trying new things if you're hitting walls.
Right. That makes sense. And that makes sense. So I want to expound on this a little bit more. So does your company buy the multi-units in Tennessee, and then I come in with capital and buy it from you, or your agents, your team helps facilitate the purchase on my end? You're the middle person. Your team is the middle person to help me find the good multi-units in Tennessee, and then kind of broker the deal, like buying a home or buying
I hold a Tennessee broker's license, Marcus. If you came to me and said, Dave, I'm interested in buying multifamily, I don't even know where to start. I'd say, come meet my agents, and we're going to have qualifying questions for you to try to get to know you and your needs and your wants and all those kinds of things, right? Once we figure that out, then, we can help you find that asset, and how we get paid is we're a brokerage fee, right? So we get a commission. But what I figured out is the easier I can make it for you to find that multifamily property, and the easier it is for you to manage it and finance it and insure it, the more properties you're going to buy from me, correct? So I have a personal investment in you to make you successful, because you're not going to just buy one duplex, Marcus. If you're successful, right, you're going to go, Dave, that was easy. I had all these midnight phone call concerns, right? And you hooked me up with the right management company, and you were a phone call away, and the right bank and the right insurance agent. And so you're going to say, man, 6 months later, I got more capital in my pocket. Let's go buy another one. And you're going to keep, I get that repeat business, because again, I pour into my clients. If you said, Dave, I want to buy one multifamily property, I would probably say, Marcus, and we might not be the company for you, right? We want to grow relationships, and that's what I'd say 60-70% of my business is just the repeat business of clients building a small portfolio. Let's say you buy 10 duplexes, Marcus, and then you go, Dave, I want to sell those and 1031 them into, a 30-unit apartment building. And I would say, great, we'll help you, sell them as a package, and then we'll help you find the next asset, and we'll put all the timing and everything together and help you do that. And so again, that's what we've done. So that's what Cedar or Residential Investment Advisors is we're just I didn't say just a brokerage firm, but we're a brokerage firm. I mean, we get paid when you buy or sell a multifamily property. And we just know the transaction so well. We know how to price them to get them sold, and all the ins and outs of that.
What states do you help clients purchase multifamilies in? Is it just Tennessee?
Yeah,
or I think there's
for right now, it's just been Tennessee for years. Back to the hustle. I did this business on my own with me and maybe an office manager once in a while for about 8 years, doing 50, 60 transactions a year. And now recently I've started adding, client or more agents. And again, this is part of the hustle, right? I did it for so long by myself. Now the hustle, now what I have to learn for myself as a business owner is to teach the other guys what's in my head, right? Because I know how to do it. I know what it takes every day to get up and go do this. Now I've got to teach that hustle to other agents. And so that's like a whole nother, discussion we could have, but you learn to do a skill, and then you got to learn how to teach somebody else to do it. And that's kind of the phase of life I'm in right now.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And so the unique thing, how's the market been in Tennessee? We just got out of a pandemic. It's been crazy. Vaccines are coming out. How has Tennessee in the multifamily space been?
I mean, Nashville's exploding. We're a no state income tax. We're very, very landlord friendly. We have a lot of California and out of state money, coming into Nashville, people selling apartment buildings in California and having hundreds of thousands of dollars to do an exchange. And again, we're a very landlord friendly state. And Nashville, all of us local guys keep thinking, it's the runway is about to end on Nashville's growth. But we keep getting these job announcements. Oracle just announced they're bringing 9,000 jobs to downtown Nashville. Amazon is finishing up their huge building downtown. They're bringing all of their, C-level in the shipping or the transportation department. So they're bringing 5,000 or 6,000 jobs to Nashville. So Nashville's just continuing to grow with good jobs. It's a very diverse economy. So we have everything from automotive to healthcare and Amazon, now Oracle. So it's kind of becoming tech. So, even during the recession, we pretty much stayed even. So, rents rising, it's just a good place to be right now. I mean, for us locals, we've kind of been priced out, we feel like, because it's gotten so expensive, but, that's kind of the other, side of it. Right. So, but yeah, Nashville's so we've helped people from Knoxville over to Jackson, and then kind of state line to state line is where we stay. Again, we stay very niched. We don't do anything outside what we know. And then so that's just, geographically and then product type, right? So we know our product that we sell inside and out, and that's, small multifamily.
Do y'all see why I had to have him on the show? I had to have him. I was going after him nonstop. I promise you. We all have one more quick commercial break. You guys stay tuned, stay with us, stay engaged. We'll be right back.
I'm Marcus Norman, bringing fresh vibes to hot topics surrounding culture, relationships, business, finance, sex, dating, faith, and everything in between. Whether you're into passive income opportunities, trending topics and useful relationship tips, or dynamic guest speakers, there's something for everyone. You can expect all that and more every week. If you're down with this content, then consider joining our growing community by subscribing to Gentleman Style Podcast and smash the bell to get on our VIP list. Your support means the world. Thanks for watching. Link to my channel.
Hey everybody, we have Mr. Dave Chillers, and this man is powerhouse dynamic speaker, and he's changing the absolute game and the mindset of how we invest in real estate. And he just broke down his company and how they are changing the way investors find real estate, multifamily real estate deals in the Nashville, Tennessee area, or Tennessee area in general. And it's still a growing market, and it's landlord friendly, y'all. That's a big thing. Mr. Dave, who is the ideal client? What does someone need prior to setting an appointment with you or your brokers? What should I have prepared before I come to you looking for multifamily real estate?
It's an interesting question. You need to be able to listen to what we have to say. We have a lot of people, I feel like, watch some infomercial last night and call us and go, "This is what you got to find me." And we go, "Well, that does not exist," right? And so we don't want to dismiss what you need personally, right? But also we'll be very honest. I've had young men call me and go, "Dave, I'm 23 years old. I'm sick of working. I want to retire, and I have $20,000 to invest." And I don't know what to tell you. You need to continue to work, right? And I think I want to just touch on this real quick before I forget. Somebody had said something about passive income. For 12 years, I've built this $30 million portfolio, and my portfolio has been my crock pot growing on the side, right? I didn't dig into that. I have made a living and paid all my bills by residential investment advisors, right? So I started these investments and I let them just pay for themselves. And and improve. So the values were going up, and then, paying down the debt to where now, there is passive income. But again, I live off of what I make as a broker, right? This is my main gig, and my side hustles, my $30 million portfolio that I've built on the side as a side hustle. And so I think you need to make sure that you're thinking that way and not going, I got to get out of my day job and buy multifamily and have this passive income so I can, sit on a beach. That's just not, if you have a true drive and a hustle, you're not thinking about, I want to go sit on a beach with my feet in the sand. You're thinking, how can I get the next deal tomorrow? And so if you come to us with that, our great clients with RIA is kind of that mindset is like, Dave, I'm a doctor, I'm an attorney, I'm a small business owner, and I have cash at the end of the day, and I need to put it somewhere. And so we're saying, hey, instead of putting it in the market or mutual funds, why don't you put it in multifamily real estate? Keep your day job, and we'll teach you how to do it passively through property management and manage the manager and all those kinds of things. But then you keep doing what you're good at, right? Like Dave Ramsey says, your greatest money making, what is it? How you make a living is your job, right? And then start putting that money into multifamily assets that are, yes, they're growing, right? As I sleep, my debt's being reduced, and I'm making improvements, and the value is going up, and so I'm getting wealthier. But I'm not robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? And so I think you got to have that mindset. So for us, our really good clients are kind of what I described, a 6-7 figure incomer looking for, a place to put capital, and put it to the side and keep doing their job and making their money. But then again, finding kind of growing that crock pot, growing that thing on that side, on the side business, the side hustle to, eventually when you get, down the road and you want to retire, you've got a great nest egg that's been sitting there building up over the last 20 years. So, and if you aren't in that stage, then you need, let's say you don't have capital, you need to go find your rich uncle or a partner or somebody to do it with. And that's what I did, is I found my rich big brother, as I call him, that had the capital. He was a super busy guy and didn't have time to go deploy his capital, right? And so me with no job and no money, right? I went and I ground and found properties to buy that fit what he was looking. And then he gave me a partial part of the ownership. And that's how I got started. So you've got to come to the table with something, right? And so what is it? Do you bring your capital? Do you bring your time? Do you bring the hustle? Do you bring the deal flow? What do you bring to the table that's of value?
Bring the value. You're right. You're so right. And so that's the thing, right? That's the thing, is bring value. Don't just sit here and try and take. What can you give? What can you contribute? Society is full of takers. How can people connect with you? How can we get on board with what you're doing? And how can we grow and learn more and partner with you?
Yeah. So if you want to, RIA-inc.com, the website, there's a media page on there, so you can see bios from my agents and all the other podcasts I've been on over the years. And I've always done this. I was on a gentleman named Rod Khleif's podcast like 5 years ago. I think I was episode number 4. He's had millions of downloads. I've always done this since he had me on, is I've given my personal cell phone number away. So I'm going to give it to you. So if you have a pen and paper or want to type it in your phone, feel free to call me. I had a call this weekend from somebody who heard me on a podcast. They reached out. And, if you're in the Middle Tennessee area, we'll try to plug you into what we're doing. I'll text you back. Just give me some time. Some days I'm gone, like I was this weekend, without cell service. But again, here's my cell number. It's 615 area code 479-8737. So 615-479-8737. If you text me and it's specifically you want to hear about a property, I might forward it to one of my agents, but you feel free to reach out to me. On my website, all of our contact information, so you can get a hold of me there, or you can find me on Facebook too, on Dave Childers. So.
Woo! That is dangerous, y'all. This man is living dangerously. That's his phone. Connect with him, grow with him, learn from him, and take the opportunity. He's going to get you in the right connections. This man has connections. So get in the door, walk through the door. What advice would you say to that young man, that young woman on the fence, and they're wondering if they should get started in multifamily real estate investing, or should they even do it? What would you say to that young man or girl in the audience?
I've had, for me, it's been huge success from being a multifamily. Maybe it's not for you. So go discover, go meet people, go get involved in local communities of real estate investors, and just put your toe in and see if it's something that interests you. Because all of us have different personalities, and it might not be something that you're interested in. You might say, man, it's gross. I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't want to deal with toilet. So it might not be for you. So that's fine. Find your thing.
Powerful. Find your thing. This may not be the thing, but this is the source, right? This is a good starting point. Mr. Dave has connections. He has the motivation. He's going to motivate you. If nothing else, you will be motivated to do something and not sit around. So thank you, sir. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day for this. This is powerful. I appreciate you. I want to say this to you also. Don't ever give up. The world is changed by you every single day, and we need you. We need what you are doing. So don't ever quit.
Thank you, Marcus, for the encouraging words.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you all, my audience, for tuning in to Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I hope this message has served you. I hope this was another dynamic episode. Stay with us. Stay tuned as we continue to grow, and we will continue to serve you in the best way possible. So thank you for tuning in. Like I end every show, take care of family, take care of friends, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show and Mr. Dave Chillers of Residential Investment Advisors signing off. Love you guys. Bye.